Have you ever prayed and felt like nothing happened? You whispered in the dark. You cried through the night. You begged God for an answer. But all you got back was silence. And in that silence, you wondered, did God even hear me? Friend, listen. Silence is not absence. God is not ignoring you. Every word you've spoken, every tear you've cried, it's been heard in heaven. The answer may not come when you expect. It may not come how you expect. But your prayer was heard. And in God's perfect time, His answer will come. Chapter 1. The Silence of Heaven. Silence is one of the hardest things to face. When you pour your heart out, you want something back, a sign, a word, a change, anything. But sometimes, heaven feels quiet, and that quiet can make you doubt. It's like waiting for an important call. You keep checking your phone, you stare at the screen, but nothing lights up. The longer you wait, the more you wonder if the call will ever come. That's how prayer feels sometimes. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't mean God didn't hear you. Silence doesn't mean He's forgotten you. Many times, silence is God working in ways you can't see. He may be preparing your heart. He may be fighting battles you don't even know about. Friend, when heaven feels silent, hold on. Because God's silence is not His absence. Your prayer was heard, and His answer is already on the way. Chapter 2. Daniel's Prayer. In the book of Daniel, we see a powerful reminder that every prayer is heard. Daniel had been praying and fasting for 3 weeks. 21 long days of waiting, seeking God, and hearing nothing in return. From the outside, it looked like heaven was silent. But when the angel finally appeared, he said something remarkable. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard. Daniel 10:12. Did you catch that? From the very first day, God heard him. The answer was already on its way. What delayed it was not God's silence or forgetfulness, but a spiritual battle. The angel explained that he had been resisted by forces of darkness until help came. This means that while Daniel was praying on earth, there was a real struggle happening in the unseen world. Friend, your prayers are no different. The moment you pray, heaven hears. The moment you cry out, God listens. Sometimes you don't see the answer because there are things happening beyond what you can see. But just like Daniel, you can be sure your prayer was heard. And in God's timing, the answer will break through. Chapter 3. God's timing versus our timing. One of the hardest lessons in prayer is learning that God's timing is not our timing. We want answers now. We want problems fixed immediately. But God often works on a very different schedule. Think about Abraham and Sarah. God promised them a child, but years went by and nothing happened. They grew older, and it seemed impossible. Yet at the right time, not their time, Isaac was born. The promise was fulfilled just as God said. Or think of Lazarus. When Jesus heard that his friend was sick, he didn't rush to heal him. He waited. By the time he arrived, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. To everyone else, it looked too late. But for Jesus, it was the perfect time to show God's glory by raising Lazarus from the grave. Friend, waiting doesn't mean your prayer was ignored. Waiting means God is preparing the best answer. His delay is not denial, it's design. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you don't know. His timing is perfect, even when it feels painfully slow. So when your prayers seem unanswered, remember this. Heaven is not on your clock, but heaven is listening. And when the time is right, the answer will come. Beautiful, powerful, and worth the wait. Chapter 4. Every tear, every whisper. Sometimes you feel like your prayers are too small, too broken, or too messy for God to notice. You whisper in the middle of the night. You cry when no one else is watching. You don't even have the strength to form full sentences, only tears. But Scripture tells us something beautiful. Psalm 56 verse 8 says, "You keep track of my tears, you put them in your bottle." Are they not in your book? Imagine that. Every tear you cry is remembered by God. Not one is wasted, not one is ignored. Even when you can't find the words, Romans 8:26 says the Spirit intercedes for us with groans too deep for words. That means heaven hears even the prayers you can't speak out loud. Friend, your whispered prayer in the dark matters. Your quiet cry is not lost in the air. God collects them. He holds them close. He treasures every word, every sigh, every broken "help me" that comes from your heart. No prayer is too small. No cry is too weak. To God, every whisper is holy. Every tear is precious. And when you bring even your smallest prayers to Him, He hears, He remembers, and He answers in His perfect love. Chapter 5. How to Wait Well. Waiting is one of the hardest parts of prayer. You've asked, you've trusted, but the answer still hasn't come. What do you do in that in-between time? How do you keep your faith alive when it feels like nothing is happening? First, keep praying. Don't stop just because you don't see results right away. Prayer is not a vending machine where you put in a request and instantly get what you want. Prayer is relationship. Every time you pray, you are drawing closer to God, even if the answer hasn't arrived yet. Second, fill the waiting with worship. Instead of letting worry fill your mind, choose to praise. When Hannah prayed for a child, she poured out her heart before God. Even before her prayer was answered, she left the temple with peace. Worship shifts your focus from the problem to the one who holds the solution. Third, act faithfully in what you already know. Waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. It means being faithful in the small things until God opens the next door. Ruth didn't sit still in her grief. She worked in the fields. And through her faithfulness, God brought Boaz into her life and wrote a new story. Finally, remind yourself that waiting is never wasted. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles." Waiting builds endurance. It shapes your faith. It prepares you for the blessing when it finally comes. Friend, don't let waiting weaken your faith. Let it strengthen it. Pray, worship, live faithfully, and trust. Because while you wait, God is working. And when the answer comes, you will see that every moment of waiting was worth it. Chapter 6. When the answer finally comes. There's nothing like the moment when God's answer finally arrives. Sometimes it looks exactly like what you prayed for. Other times, it looks completely different, but always better than you imagined. Think of Hannah. She prayed year after year for a child. People mocked her. She wept in the temple. But in time, God gave her Samuel, a son who would grow into a prophet that changed the nation. Her prayer was not only answered, it became part of God's greater plan. Or think of Paul. He prayed for God to remove the thorn in his flesh. God didn't take it away. Instead, he said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." The answer wasn't what Paul expected, but it gave him strength and perspective he never would have known otherwise. Friend, God's answers don't always match our requests, but they always match His wisdom. When the answer comes, you'll see why the waiting was necessary. You'll realize the silence wasn't wasted. The delay wasn't empty. It was God shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you. And when His answer arrives, it carries peace. It carries clarity. It carries the reminder that your prayer was never lost. It was heard from the very first word. So when the answer comes, whether it's yes, not yet, or I have something better, you can rest in this truth. God heard you. He always does. Your prayer was heard. Friend, let this truth settle deep in your heart. Not a single prayer you've ever prayed has been ignored. From the moment the words left your lips, heaven heard. From the first tear that fell, God saw. From the silent whisper that no one else knew about, He cared. Maybe you're still waiting. Maybe the silence feels unbearable. But remember Daniel. His prayer was heard on the first day. Remember Abraham and Sarah. God's promise came at the perfect time. Remember Jesus, who taught us that even when heaven seems silent, the Father is always at work. God may not answer the way you expect or when you expect, but He will answer in His wisdom, His love, and His timing. Every prayer counts. Every prayer matters. Every prayer reaches His throne. So don't stop praying. Don't stop trusting. Don't let silence convince you that God is absent. He is closer than you think. He is listening. He is moving. Your prayer was heard, and one day you will see the answer. Beautiful, powerful, and perfect in His time.